For this exercise, before we begin, you should have downloaded the Fire Statistics dataset found within your project resources. For this exercise, we're going to be creating a bar graph so all of the data can be found underneath this section of the dataset. To get started, let's jump into Adobe Illustrator, go up to File, and create a new document. The title of this document can simply be Bar Graph. The size of it will be 10 by 10. We're working in inches. Set your artboard to be 1 with no bleed, and under the advanced options, make sure you're working in RGB color mode. We'll say Create to create our document. To find the bar graph tool, look at the bottom of your toolbox and click and hold. It may be hiding underneath some of the other graph and chart tools. We're going to choose the bar graph tool, then click and drag over the artboard area to give yourself a simple starting point for your bar graph. Notice that when you do this, this will open up your data set dialog box so we can type in all of the data that we have. If we scooch our Illustrator document over so we can see our data set, I want to copy and paste all of our data from the very top to the bottom. Notice that I've also included percent of deaths and fires in what I'm copying. We don't just want to get the numbers, we want to get the titles as well. We can go up to Edit, down to Copy. Let's now jump back into Illustrator, and inside of this first cell of our data set, go up to Edit and Paste, and this will paste everything into this particular area. When we say check, automatically this will create the bar graph that we have, and everything is looking pretty good right now. With this done, we can close out our data set and further refine our bar graph that we created. The first thing we can do is to change the location of our legend. With our object selected, let's go up to Object, down to Graph, and choose Type. And let's add the legend across the top of our bar that we created. This is found under the Style menu. When we say OK, this will move that to the top up there. From here, we can start to refine and colorize everything else that we need on our bar graph. The first thing that I'm going to do is choose my white arrow direct selection tool, and let's move over this white bar in addition to the text that goes along with it. So for this one, we want the fires just selected. So very carefully, we may have to move everything over just to get it out of the way. There we go, and to place it right here. Now, if I want to be able to quickly and easily select all of the fires area and change that to a different color, choose the Group Selection tool. This is found underneath your Direct Selection tool. It looks like it, but it's got a plus sign. If we click once on this area and then click again, this will select all of the same colored ones within that group. With them all selected, we can choose red as the color for this one. Let's do the same for the black, for the percentage of death. Click once and then click again to select all of these, and then let's choose a color for percentage of death. In our case, we'll let it be a light blue. Some final refinements we can do have to do with the text. In this case, I'm going to choose my Direct Selection tool and click on all of the text on the left-hand side, and let's change the font. Changing up both the style and the size of it. And we can do the same for the text at the bottom and even at the top as well. If we need to scale this down, we can select the area. We can't do this with our normal selection tool, so I'm going to choose my Scale tool, then holding down Shift, click and drag. The last thing that I may want to do is to add some sort of background to make it a little bit easier to read. To do this, I'm going to grab my Rectangle tool, click and drag a rectangle out, and then change the color to something that matches or makes it easier to read for the background. In my case, I'm going to open up these gradients for the brights. And let's add more of a orange kind of gradient to that area. Whatever other refinements that you want to do for your graph is left up to you. Make it look interesting and add your own personal detail. You don't have to use the same colors, and you can add your own styles as you see fit. Once you're finished, make sure it's centered nicely within your artboard. Let's go up to File and Save. We'll keep the name of it as bar graph as an Illustrator file. I'm saving mine to the desktop, and we'll hit Save. This Illustrator file is what you'll upload to Moodle once you've finished with the entire exercise.